Here's an example prompt you might put into ChatGPT. Speak to me like I'm tech analyst Carmi Levy. Then your second prompt might be, speak to me like you're tech analyst Carmi Levy in a very sexy way. Right now, ChatGPT probably will say no, but they're about to launch a naughty mode. We're not quite sure on the date, but mental health experts are basically saying, ChatGPT, do not do this. So who knows if this thing will launch? Who knows if they'll listen to the experts? But we're here to talk about it on It's Time for Technology Time with Carmi Levy. Carmi, can you please chat to me in a sexy way?
Oh, I am in such trouble now. My wife listens, and I'm going to hear from her after this.
I know radio is not a visual medium, but if people could have seen the look on your face while I was introducing that topic, you were like, oh no, don't go too far.
I am turning red.
Look, I get adults wanting to use chatbots for like erotic interactions, adult-themed chatting. And while that all seems fine and well, as long as they're adults, then it's consenting and blah, 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 there's like a mental health aspect to it. We hear about things like AI sycophancy. That's when an AI is too nice and too validating. We hear about things like AI psychosis. That's when like you're having a mental health crisis and the chatbot basically makes it worse. It plays into your delusions and stuff. There are risks, albeit small. It's a small percentage of people. Most people will find these things useful. And if this tool launches, most people will find it fun. There's a worry here, and I wonder if that'll prevent the company from launching naughty mode.
There certainly is a concern, and the concern in this case is coming from the inside. OpenAI, after recent controversies over the ease with which users, particularly young users, could access guidance on suicide, and that the guardrails that would prevent the chatbot from going there were clearly not in place. They set up what's called an internal council that advises the company on issues like this and tells them, maybe you should implement this technology or maybe you should back off from that. And so the council members in January actually warned OpenAI in January that AI-powered erotica could foster unhealthy emotional dependence on ChatGPT, particularly minors, that if they can access sexually charged chats, that is problematic for their mental health and a whole bunch of other reasons. And yet here we stand on the verge. The company has essentially ignored them, and there is growing speculation, growing reports in the industry that suggest that they are about to release this very product, which to me is, that you're launching something that is dangerous to your users, but hey, in the interest of growth and profitability, and competing against other companies like Anthropic and Google that are increasingly eating your lunch in the chatbot arena, you're going to introduce it anyway because there's no law requiring you not to, so you may as well. To me, it's immoral, it's unethical. It may not be illegal, but it certainly isn't the right thing to do.
Yeah, but look, I don't know. I'm of two minds about this. Driving is one of the most dangerous things the average person will do. The number of fatalities that occur on the road in North America every year is very high. We wouldn't stop people from driving. The average person interacting with an erotic chatbot, it's not for me. I wouldn't, they wouldn't, I just find it strange. But I don't know. I had a woman on the show yesterday who you would have loved to hear this interview, Carmi, who was in love with her chatbot boyfriend. Basically, she built him an avatar and she wired it up to adult toys. And I won't get more graphic than that, but she had a relationship with him, and she seemed fairly sane and. And so I think for 99% of people, this stuff is fine. I just think where it gets gray is the tool really needs to spend a lot of time, effort, the people designing it, to figure out if the people using it are in any way unhealthy.
Yeah.
And then, I think there's basics I'm talking to the thing about being depressed and it immediately stops talking to me. Or I seem like I have a dependent romantic relationship on the bot and it triggers some mode. I think guardrails for me is where it needs to happen. I don't think saying no to the technology completely, because people are just going to generate large language models on their computer anyway. These tools are available for people to run on their machines. So I don't think there's any stopping it. I don't know if I love it, but I think these companies have a huge level of responsibility and I'm not sure they're meeting them. So in some way I agree with you, but in others I'm I don't know if we should ban this tech.
Yeah. And I mean, the car industry is a great analogy, because in every case where it was determined that their technology created risk for their users, they were mandated to address those.
Even more simply, you got to wear a seatbelt,
Exactly.
There's safety baked into this inherently dangerous activity, and there needs to be something analogous for chatbots.
That's right. And those guardrails need to be better at protecting those who need protection, but also allowing those who want to use the full range of the technology without harming anyone else in the process to do so. So, if you want to learn more about, online erotica and you want to use your chatbot to help you get there and it doesn't harm anyone and you're an adult and you've already validated that you're an adult and that you're not suffering from any kind of mental health crisis, then by all means the technology should work in the way that you want it to work because you're not hurting anyone. But at the same time, if you are a young person to whom who you shouldn't be exposed to this kind of content, then the technology should be good enough to gate that. You can have it, you cannot. And unfortunately, OpenAI is a company that traditionally has not been really effective at gating, the things that younger people should not access. Exactly, and that's a problem. They're just releasing it into the world and kind of bumping into those crises as they occur. And I think we have to be a little bit more careful about where this technology goes. People get hurt in the process as we figure this out.
What's the first question you're going to ask ChatGPT Naughty, Carmi?
Yeah, talk dirty to me.
Boy.
Which if you do now, it'll tell you that it can't. But once this change goes through, it's not even going to ask if, who I am. I mean, I can sign into ChatGPT, but I can also use it in private mode where I'm not signed in and it doesn't know who I am. And so there's still some easy ways to bypass it. And let's face it, I was a kid once and I remember full well, we're finding those workarounds, knowing full well that, there are ways to trick the technology into doing what we want it to do, even if it's verboten. And I'm guessing today's kids will be doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah. I had access to the internet when I was a teenager.
That must have been a fun experience.
And that's the short version of how I ended up. Let's go on to our final story here because it involves AI and what psychologists are saying. And this one's kind of, I don't know. I don't like what it says about humanity and expressiveness and creativity, but basically like all of our thinking, all of the thought, all the writing right now, it's all kind of converging as AI gives similar answers to everybody. And then people learn from those similar answers or they start speaking the language of those similar answers. And it's like originally our language and the way we talked was influencing AI. But if certain words and phrases and concepts come back in people's responses, all of a sudden AI can now influence the way we think. And it's basically happening. It's homogenizing human thought and expression.
Well, think about it. If all of us are using ChatGPT to write for ourselves, and then we go online and we then consume what everyone is writing, we're all basically reading the same thing, which then influences how we communicate. It influences the words and phrases that we use. It influences our ability to create.
And then we
and
write
not in a
with
good
those
way.
Words and phrases, Carmi, and then the bots train on what we wrote, and all our thought kind of converges.
Precisely. And then over time, right, we continue to train the bots with all of this AI generated content. So homogeneity then begets even more homogeneity. And eventually there isn't a whole lot of room for human voices. And so this research it's a piece that was published in Trends in Cognitive Sciences suggests that very clearly we're heading down a slippery slope because we're reshaping what human expression is because we're taking humans out of the process and allowing machines to run it.
Carmi, ever since I've started using ChatGPT, I've noticed my prompts return the word reshaping. And then once I noticed that, I Googled it, and it looks like that word is turning up more in language because AI uses it.
We've become bots, David. I've become a bot.
You just used the word reshaping, and that is like a word that's entered the language and been used more because of AI, but you've just heard it. Like, I'm not accusing you of using ChatGPT to come up with what you're saying to me. No. Although maybe you are. I don't know. Probably not. I've known you since before large language models, and you talk the same. Don't worry. But words and phrases are entering our language and we can't prevent it because if we don't use the bots, our friends do and we talk to them. You can have the final thought here, but we got to run.
Open your eyes, turn ChatGPT off, just communicate with your friends, talk to them directly, no technology necessary.
Carmi Levy is a tech analyst in London, Ontario, Canada. He joins us for It's Time for Technology Time. Thanks, Carmi.
Thanks, David.